Hi there. Thanks for tuning into the Unsecurity Podcast. I'm Evan Francine. My co-host is Mr. Brad Nye. I'm getting all formal, calling you Mr. Brad Nye, your full name.
Yes.
This is episode 92, and this is, and the date is August 10th, 2020. Brad, you here? How you doing?
I am here. I'm mostly awake, partly recovered from the weekend.
Yeah, we're going to talk about that weekend here in a little bit. So you might have heard this. We've been doing this Women in Security series. Brad, I don't know about you, but I really I wanted to do this series for two reasons. One, I wanted to learn more about women's issues in our industry. You know, obviously not being a woman myself, and you not either. Last time I checked, it's been a while since we've been COVIDed apart, but I think you're still a man.
I think so.
Okay, which is good. I think I like you the way you are, as I do most people. But I wanted to hear about women's perspectives on things. You know, I know that I've been married for a while, and when I get my wife's perspective and I actually listen, it's pretty amazing.
Yeah, agreed.
Women's perspectives, and second, I wanted to give women a voice. At least here, in our little corner of the world, give them a voice to be heard. So the entire podcast series we've devoted to women in our industry, and I've been blown away. I don't know about you, about just the quality of people, the women that we've talked to, the perspectives, the wisdom, the opinions. I mean, it's been pretty amazing.
Mm-hmm. I completely agree.
Yeah, and I learned a lot. I went into this without any expectations. And I think sometimes it's better to do it that way, just to kind of let it flow and find out what you find out. But we're not done yet. Today, we welcome another amazing lady. This is somebody that I know well and respect a heck of a lot. So a huge welcome and a ton of gratitude for joining us this morning and dealing with our whole technical issues. I mean, I don't know why we don't call ourselves the shit show sometimes, especially this morning. But we want to welcome Lee Ann Villella for joining us. Welcome, Lee Ann.
Thank you. It's good to be here.
Yeah, it's not that. What time is it there now? It's 7:21?
Yep.
Yeah.
In the morning? Okay. So you're up and ready to go. What time do you usually get up, Lee Ann?
Usually 6-ish, 5:36-ish.
Okay. Are you more of a morning person or a night person?
Morning for sure. Yeah.
Brad, are you a morning person or a night person?
Night person.
All right. Well, I'm a morning person, except for this morning, I suppose. But Leanne, you know that you're one of my favorites. I really enjoy every time I get a chance to talk.
Thank you.
I'm really, really happy you're here.
Thanks. That's good to hear.
Yeah. So first, before we, as is customary, every week, we start off, and I've said this many times on the podcast, one of the big reasons, if not the reason why we started the podcast 92 episodes ago was to spend an hour with Brad. And so we start off every podcast, just how you doing? What's going on? What's new? So Brad, how was your week? How was your weekend? Tell us why you're so dang tired this weekend.
Yeah, so it was DEF CON. So we did a bunch of different.
What? DEF CON?
I know.
Safe mode.
Yep. We did a bunch of different CTFs. So let's see. I want to make sure I read these right. Our tech team, Team Ambush, finished second again in the command and control CTF. They were actually leading up until the last minute. They kind of had a last minute challenge drop that was the Kano, I guess, was that anyway. But second place, amazing job by those guys. Then our IR team, and this is one I worked on, we were in the OpenSOC CTF, got into the finals, and we finished, so I don't have this info for the other guys, but we finished day one in 31st place, and we finished day two. We got every flag. We finished in 14th, so we were the 14th fastest team to finish. And then in the finals, we finished 9th. So very happy with that. We finished about, I think, right around 10 minutes behind first place. So we were not that far off. We were pretty happy with that. And then the combined team did 7th place in the biohacking CTF, so medical devices. That was pretty fun. And then tech services guys did 16th place in ICS, Hack the Planet, so industrial control systems. So we kind of went outside of our wheelhouse there with medical devices and, infusion pumps and IoT and things like that. And then Eric got first place in the MUD CTF, which is multi-user dungeon. So some sort of a kind of a game type of thing, but he won that apparently. So great job by him.
Damn.
But yeah, it was a long weekend. So we started Thursday with the biohacking. They opened up some stuff, kind of a mini event. And then Friday went about 11 hours CTFing. And then Saturday was, what is that, 11, I can't even think, 13, 16 hours Saturday.
So how much sleep have you gotten this weekend?
Not enough.
I can tell in your eyes. You're like,
Yeah.
kind of,
Yeah, I'm still trying to catch up, but it was a lot of fun. It was interesting to do it remotely, but we had the teams and video going and screen sharing, and it was a really good. It was a lot of fun.
That's awesome, man. So I think next weekend we'll see if we can't get Oscar and maybe a few other team members, online. I'd love to hear more about the CTF, about the experience. This year is just like everything is just funky, right?
Yeah.
But great job. I love how you guys push yourselves and go outside of the limit. Biohacking and ICS systems are not what we're known for.
Yeah. It was a lot of fun. It was the OpenSOC one was really good blue teaming, from the IR standpoint, and it really, I guess, drove home that we know what we're doing. And I think the most impressive part is they provided all the tools, and none of us had used those tools. So we finished 9th place with tools we weren't familiar with.
That's cool.
So,
Well, yeah, it's neat because I don't know, you're a parent, and a lot of times we just know our kids, and so like, yeah, you're legit. You cheer them on, and then they go out and do something, and that proves to themselves that they're legit. Because I already knew you guys were legit. I mean, it's not a surprise to me at all. Maybe Eric's a surprise to me because I think I'm just kidding. I thought it was great.
Yeah, it was good. It was great having all the members of the IR team contribute. Even the new guy that started Tuesday was on all most of the weekend and was helping with some flags and learning, and just it was a lot of fun. It really, I think it's gonna really help that team bond.
Yeah. Well, Oscar does such a great job leading that team. That's another reason why I like to have him back on the podcast is, let's get his perspective. And you were in the mud, not that mud, but you were in it with him. You know what I mean?
Yep.
It's cool.
Yeah.
How about you, Leanne? What's new with you? How was your weekend? You probably weren't CTFing, but probably doing something cool.
No, not quite as exciting as Brad and team. It was good. Went out for a hike with a friend in the woods Friday, I think. Saturday, just hung out at home. Sunday went to IKEA, which was a bad idea. Turned around, came back, didn't even go in.
Why was it a bad idea?
Well, so we didn't realize, they're limiting people in the store. So there was like long lines outside waiting to get in. And we were just going to buzz in and buzz out and get one silly little thing. And so they're like, nope, not doing that. So came home and then grilled out last night.
Nice.
Ate corn on the cob.
Nice.
Good. And then had this massive storm entertainment last night and the power out. So But it was
What time-
about, what's that?
What time did the storm roll in?
So the storm was, I don't know, between 1 and 2:30, I think.
Yeah.
Our power went out probably about 9:30 for a couple hours. So
Yeah,
it
we
was
had a couple waves. I saw something. We got like 5.5 inches of rain in like a 24-hour period yesterday.
yeah, and then it rained during the day too. I don't know, lunchtime for a while. So it was kind of a, it was super humid yesterday, just ridiculously humid.
Mm-hmm.
So do you do a lot of hiking? Is that a hobby for you?
Yeah, I get outside a lot. We have 2 dogs, so we're out with our dogs walking a lot, just going to the dog park or walking around where we live. So
That's
yeah, I
cool.
like that.
What kind of dogs?
One is a Havanese, Freddie, and then
Mhm.
one is a Yorkie mix, Wilma.
Oh, Wilma.
She's the loud one.
Oh yeah, those Yorkies. They think they own the place.
She does own the place, yeah.
So Yorkie mixed with what?
She is Yorkie, Silky Terrier, and a little bit of Pekingese. We did one of those tests because they're both rescues, but we did a test on her. So
How big is she?
she's kind of a big girl. She's
Oh really?
like 15, 16 pounds.
Oh my gosh, that is big. Okay.
Yeah, she's big boned.
Because we've got Yorkie, I think 2 dogs with Yorkie in them. I love them. I think
Yeah,
I think they're so damn tough. It's like, come on.
she is very tough actually.
Oh
Yeah.
really? She doesn't back down?
Yeah, she'll bark at big dogs. She's she's like, get away from me, and yeah, she's very tough.
I have Albert, who's he's getting big too. So now I'm calling him Fat Albert. He's what the hell is he? York. He's got Yorkie in him. I know that, but yeah, he's such a loudmouth. And then when anybody like turns toward him, he's like, oh, and he runs away. Like, come on, man, stand your ground.
And is your new one? What's your new one? Is that part Yorkie too, or no?
Oh gosh, yes.
Yeah.
What is she? She's Yorkie and Chihuahua, Chorky. That's what we call them. And she's like 2.2 pounds.
That's little.
Yeah, and she'll get to, and she thinks she's tough too. She walks, like a Chihuahuas are bow-legged, usually. So she walks around like, hey, like she's all that. It's like, you're 2.2 pounds.
Tough girl.
I step on you and I don't even realize it.
I have a rule that I can't have a dog that's smaller than my shoe. I wear a size 13, so this little dog out.
Yeah. They're adorable though, man. She's,
Yeah.
I could talk all day about dogs. But Leanne, you well? It sounds like.
Yeah, doing well.
It's Monday morning. Got a big week planned.
I do. Got a lot of meetings this week, and yeah, it's gonna be a good week.
That's cool. Again, welcome. Happy.
Thanks.
Well, where am I at? I'm in Rapid City, South Dakota. Came out here for Sturgis, and it was good. It was really good. It was good for my mental health, I think. Physical health is what I risk when I come here, because the COVID and everything. And I know that there's all sorts of predictions and things that, may happen. We're going to be responsible, and I would advise, anybody else who comes here to do the same. I'm going home and I will self-isolate for 14 days. That's responsible. I came here not to be irresponsible. I came here to get my head straight, spend some really quality time with my wife. Being that 2020 has been so disruptive just to normal life. So getting on the bike, riding out here for, 500 some odd miles and, it seems irresponsible, but not wearing a mask for, 3-4 days felt good. So
Is it mostly outdoors?
yeah, it's mostly outdoors, but there's no isolating.
No, but yeah, it is. It's outdoors. Not wearing a mask doesn't seem as risky.
Yeah. When I don't have any, and I've only been here for a couple of days, and I'm heading home this morning later, but no symptoms. And I'm surprised actually that I would say the most common age group out here is high risk people. People that come to Sturgis this year, more than I remember in past years, are all 60s, 70s. Not all, a larger proportion than what I remember. So I think a lot of those people too are like, I just want normal, and they're risking life and death a lot more than I am.
Yeah.
But so far, no motorcycle deaths. Usually they're somewhere between 6 to 10.
Wow.
Quite a few accidents already, but that's normal.
Do you camp, or what do you do to sleep?
So we stayed about 25 miles out in Rapid City. So just about 25 miles up the road. We stay in a Hilton.
Nice.
Yeah.
At least you got a little comfort.
Well, and you get away from the riffraff, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, there's always a group.
Yeah.
But it was good. I think that goes on for another week. We just came here for the weekend just to get away, and then we'll head back. Self-isolate, which it's not really a big deal anymore. Self-isolating.
Yeah.
It's kind of what I've been doing.
Yeah. Business as usual, right?
Yeah, unfortunately. All right. So, other than that, that's about all I've been doing. So, now that this is the 9th show that we've done talking about our series, Women in Security. Again, amazing experience, 8 weeks so far, 8 great discussions, wonderful ladies in our industry, some of them kind of on the periphery in our industry and some deep into it. We've had a nice mix of CISOs. Lori, I think, kind of wins the trophy for the longest tenure in our industry, 35 years. And then we had a college senior from Penn State. We had a chief operating officer. We had just all over the place. New people in our industry. I mean, Victoria is relatively new.
Yeah.
And then Leanne. Now, Leanne, I think the interesting thing from you, the perspective you bring, at least the one that I'm intrigued by, is you're not necessarily a practitioner, but you're very active in our industry. And you talk to a hell of a lot more people than I do, I think, every day in our industry, as a senior, sales executive. So awesome again to have you here. How did you get started in all of this?
So my career has been a very windy path.
Yeah.
And but probably about 6-7 years ago, I wanted to pivot from selling digital marketing, and I worked on some advertising agencies, and I was interested in technology and kind of networked with folks and found a job in software consulting. And from there, kind of found out about security, which was fascinating to me. I always like being in industries that's constantly changing, very challenging, also very, meaningful to a lot of people. I view our job, we're helping people because there's, the bad guys out there, right? And so I had a friend on the Minnesota ISSA board, and they had an opening. So that was my first step into, okay, I'm going to learn this world. I'm going to, book speakers for them. I'm going to learn about security. So that was my first step. And then from there, heard about FRSecure and eventually got a job there, and here I am almost 3 years later. So
That's so cool. I'm glad you made the change. That's for sure.
yeah, I am too. It's a lot of fun. I love the industry. So it's been a lot of fun.
Yeah. So now you said eventually got into FRSecure, got hired by FRSecure. Because I remember the first time we met, I was still involved in, not really hiring, but they would, I think, bring me into like, hey, do you want to talk to Leanne for a minute? And I'm like, sure. Yeah. And I remember that. And then they asked me, I can't remember who it was. And we don't have to name names because they obviously got it wrong, but they asked me what I thought of you. And I was like, I'm an intangibles guy. I don't care if you have security experience. I was like, yes, she has the intangibles. You can tell. And then we didn't hire you that time. Thank God you were persistent, or we were persistent, or somebody was persistent, because
I was.
Oh, good. Because you made such a huge difference for us.
Oh, thanks. Yeah. Well, timing is everything. I think when I was first having conversations, I think the timing was off. Different things were going on, I think, for the company, and timing's everything. That's always how it works. So.
Yeah. Well, they just plain got it wrong.
There was definitely some transition in the sales team at that time.
Yeah.
I remember that.
I like to say we went. No, see, I'm going to get myself in trouble. Forget it. I was going to say, we're playing in the majors now. I'll say that.
Yeah.
I love our sales team.
As you grow, right? We've always said that the people that get you from 1 to 25 aren't the people that get you to 25 to 50, or the people that get you 50 to 100, right? So everybody has their niche. Yeah.
So you started as the ISSA. Now, were you the program director then? You still are now, right?
I still am, yeah. Yeah, so I book speakers for our chapter events. We used to do like women in security luncheons. We do after hours events, which is more sponsor or more company driven. Somebody sponsors and speaks, but mostly the chapter events.
Okay. And you also do work for the Cybersecurity Summit.
Yeah, so I joined that planning committee, I think a year and a half ago. And so that's the fall security conference, end of October. And that's also a very strong, solid group. I think this is the 10th anniversary year of that conference this fall.
Yeah. Wow. And that conference is known for a pretty healthy support of women in our industry as well.
Yeah, so they actually, last year was the first year they did a women in security event. It was a half day on Monday. And literally that was planned in 90 days, like very quickly. And the feedback was very, very good. And so this will be year 2. And I think it's a full day this year, so on Monday.
Cool. Yeah, Judy Hatchett mentioned that. She was there last year.
Yeah, Judy Hatchett is very involved. Tina Meeker. There's a whole committee of very strong, powerful women on that.
That's cool. That's very cool.
Mm-hmm.
So now you're here, and how long has it been? 3 years?
It'll be 3 years in October, end of October.
Time flies. It's too fast.
I know, time flies, right?
Yeah. So 3 years, and you are sort of in charge of, not in charge, but you are lead or go-to person for enterprise, right?
Yeah, there are other reps that also do enterprise, but
not as well as you.
Well,
I'm just kidding.
we're not going to say that. That's not true. We have a really strong team,
We'll see if they're listening.
Yeah, right.
But yeah, so I still have a lot of, mid-size accounts that I've kind of grandfathered that I've come along since I've been working with them. But enterprise has been a focus for me.
Yeah. Now, you know better than I do. What are the challenges between enterprise and non-enterprise sales? Does it take more time to do enterprise?
Sometimes there's a longer sales cycle. You've sometimes got more stakeholders that you're talking to. You might be talking to a CISO, but as well as a CFO or a CIO. It just depends on the org. But and I think the expectations, to make sure you're delivering and doing it well, are important. So. But yeah, I like challenge, so it fits me well.
I know you're kind of to me, you're kind of a sleeper, right? Because it doesn't, if I were to talk to you, just on the street, just have a conversation with you, I wouldn't know how competitive you actually are. You seem to be very, very competitive. Is that true?
I am, yeah. It's in my top 5 on my strengths finders.
Is it really? What's number 1?
Individualistic or individual or something, I think.
Okay.
Which I had never done that. We did it as a sales team, I don't know, a year ago or so. I had never done the strengths one. I've done other ones, but.
Yeah, I was surprised at mine. I grew up an only child, so I would have thought individualism or individualistic, I can't remember the word either, would have been a big one. But my number 1 is relator.
I can see that.
I get that, yeah.
Yeah, but I don't like people.
But deep down you do, just on a much deeper level.
Yeah.
That's what it is.
Yeah. Number 2 is competitive.
For you?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
See, I wouldn't have guessed that.
All it means is I only play games I win. Doesn't mean I push any harder or anything. It just, I want to play unless I'm going to win. All right. So you're a lady selling, because you were our first female. No, you weren't.
No,
you weren't. We had other female salespeople. One of the things that's interesting is we say that, 70%, 80% of our industry is men. So does that mean that you're primarily interfacing, Leanne, with men when you're doing your job?
It's a mix. I mean, I certainly have women clients too.
Yeah.
I don't, maybe it's 3/4 men, 1/4 women, roughly.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you feel like, because one of the things we've heard time and time again is this bro culture kind of thing. And I can't put my finger on it. I mean, I know I'm part of it because I'm a bro, but do you notice it?
I hear about it. I'm not directly exposed, a little bit, but I would say it's I hear about it more when I hear about like hacking events. I was like on Twitter, following women who are, sometimes complaining about not being respected in that kind of world, but I'm removed from that. And then the other piece that I hear about, so I listen to like a lot of CISO podcasts, and I've heard women leaders be at like RSA at a booth with their team, and the salespeople talk to the team and not the woman who's the CISO leader. And they obviously didn't get a sale because they disrespected her, and they didn't give her the time of day, which was, so I hear about very, kind of removed, but in that aspect.
Yeah. Well, I suppose with the work you do at ISSA and the work you do at the Cybersecurity Summit, you probably hear stories of various. Now, would you call it discrimination? I think it is, isn't it? I mean, the sense of the word, not the way it's used. Is I don't know. Seems like discrimination.
Yeah, that's a strong word. I mean, it's kind of a lack of sensitivity or awareness, maybe.
Yeah, it is a strong word, but when you look at the we kind of deviate from the definitions of words nowadays. So I mean, if I discrimination actually, it's been used so much for certain things that you almost can't use it for other things anymore. You know.
Yeah.
Because discrimination is actually a good skill when it's used appropriately, right? We discriminate all the time. I choose things, so this thing over that thing. So do you have any stories yourself of where you've been sort of disrespected or marginalized? Anything that comes to mind?
I had some experiences in my career a while back where, I was selling in an industry, again, mostly men, and they were not, they were not always the nicest to sell to. But at the same time, it kind of toughened me up. And, I always believe that you learn from things, even if they're challenging. And, in my role and my work, as well as my, my other security things, I am very passionate about supporting women and trying to mentor or, when women are young in their careers, support them. And so that's my way of personally trying to make a difference. Because I have learned the hard way on a few things, but.
Well, that's another thing that we've heard, I think, multiple times is being tough, toughening up. I mean, it was the first show in the series, Brad. We heard Renee tell us how important it was to be tough.
Yep. Yeah. So one of the big things we have heard is the confidence thing. Like Evan admits to being borderline reckless. I'm not quite that bad, but I have no issues just trying something, especially around, work and things like that. Have you seen that from your side of it in terms of like the sales side of, being that confidence going in and talking?
Yeah. I mean, I'm conscious of it. And so again, when I feel like, that's something that I've never done, but I'm aware of it. So then I'm still going to do it, but I'm aware of my sort of maybe a little bit of hesitation.
Okay.
Yeah, because I think in sales in general, it seems like you got to be tough, right? I mean, you have to have thick skin. It seems like you get a lot of rejection. Is that true? Do you witness that?
That's part of the game.
Right. So with all that, and then being able to still, it is part of the game, right? It's probably easier for a woman, maybe, and I'm generalizing, I have no idea. When I say these things, I'm kind of just, you tell me, but it seems like you have to be tough to be in sales anyway, regardless of whether you're a female or a male,
Yeah, true. Yeah, you have to deal with rejection. You have to be persistent and determined. And that's all part of it.
Well, one of the things I appreciate about you too is I know when you want to get time on my calendar, you'll get it, right? I mean, one way or another.
She is persistent.
I'm good at maneuvering.
Yeah. Well, maybe that's it too.
But in a subtle way.
Right.
I'm not the hammer over the head, but I'm like kind of the snake in the grass.
Yes. Yeah. So do you think that's something that helps maybe for women in our industry is maneuvering, meaning being tough, but being able to adjust, have your goal in mind and go after it. And you may have to shift a little bit here and there.
Yeah. And I think, it's partly a style thing. There are other sales folks who are very aggressive and it's kind of my style. It's just a personality more than and I don't know, maybe it's a gender thing. I don't know, but.
Yeah, I don't know either. Well, that's kind of what I'm looking for is like, what are the gender things in security sales? I don't know. Maybe there aren't that many. What do you think? Tough question.
It is. I will say I'm big on listening. I would always prefer when I'm talking to somebody in a sales process, I want to get them talking. So I'm asking a lot of questions, open-ended questions. Always want to hear them and then respond. That's also more comfortable for me.
Well, I think it's good for relationships.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I think the pushy, aggressive, transactional sales approach, especially in enterprise, and the things that you're selling, because you're selling services, you're not selling products.
Mm-hmm.
I think that really serves you well, doesn't it? To be that listener.
I think so. Yeah.
Well, I think your approach, and you see it as, it really is that partnership that you're trying to build out. And I've
Yeah.
seen, we worked together for most of the last 3 years doing on the sales process.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, you've definitely been like, I don't think that's the right thing for them, right? Like, you do truly have your customer's best interest.
Yeah, I'd never want to sell things that aren't going to make a difference. At the end of the day, my job is to help people, to help them be more secure, to mature their programs, to make sure the company is in a defensible position. And, it's unethical for me to sell something that somebody doesn't need. So, that's why I think FRSecure, we've been successful. That's also the mindset of the company. And at the end of the day, there are some folks who haven't been a right fit for us.
Mm-hmm.
And I appreciate that.
I also appreciate that about you too, because you've always been very mission focused, which finding that common ground, regardless of gender, regardless of race, regardless of anything, when you have a common thing that you're all marching towards, none of this stuff really matters. It just doesn't seem.
Yeah, it's true.
I think that's one of the reasons too why I struggle in trying to talk about some of this stuff, because I just don't know. I don't know I don't know that. It sounds stupid, but I don't know what it's like in business to discriminate, against somebody because of their gender or their color or their beliefs. It's just weird. I don't know.
It is interesting.
What's that?
I was gonna say, I think a lot of it really does probably have a lot to do with your upbringing, right? If you're exposed to more diversity as you're young, I know I was in the DC area. You lived in that area as well for a while in the military, so you were exposed to it. Leanne, what about? I actually don't know.
Where,
Yeah.
So I actually grew up mostly in Eden Prairie, and I would not say it was very diverse growing up there.
No.
It certainly is way more diverse now, which I think is great. But I've always, had friends of different races and backgrounds, and I think, I think that's important to when you going back to your point, Evan, about business and discrimination. I think if people know that they have unconscious biases, that's kind of a first step of becoming aware of things that might be going on, just different perspectives, people that are from different countries or different, so, and I've always tried to be aware of that, so you just try to get to know people for where they're at.
So that's an interesting thing, unconscious bias, because I do hear about it a lot, and I try to. If it's unconscious, well, then it means by definition, I don't know it, right? So then, how do I become aware of it? Is it being open to criticism or being open to evaluation from somebody who maybe could be aware of it. I don't know. Weird.
Yeah, I mean, I think it goes, and you've said this on the podcast, it just goes back to valuing different perspectives. And I think it's human nature, though. We always gravitate that towards people that think like us, or, oh, we have this commonality. That's a human nature thing. But to be aware of, oh, well, this different perspective could be valuable, or I could learn something. That's I think where if people have that, that's kind of, at least you're open-minded halfway there too.
Right. Well, and when people do that, I know from my own experience on that, it feels dangerous sometimes to do that, because in order for me to understand or, another people group, that means I need to interact with that other people group, which then means I expose myself to this other people group, and I don't know if they have the unconscious bias that they're going to attack the crap out of me. You know what I mean? There's just like this, I don't know. We probably all deal with it. But so you mentioned mentoring.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's another thing we've heard over and over again. Do you do any mentoring today, or because you can't mentor all the time. I know that from my own perspective. I've got 1,000 things going on. I try to.
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't say I'm formally mentoring anybody, but I guess one of my ways of paying it forward, if you will, is just if people are in transition, I will meet with them, have coffee. I try to connect them with my network or people that I know. So I always try to do that for people. I network quite a bit. So that's probably the main way that I'm doing it, but I would be open to mentoring, people that want to be in security sales, because I just, I would enjoy that. And I just think it would be great, good for the industry to have more diverse perspectives, or people to at least understand and know what opportunities are out there.
Yeah. Well, and maybe through this podcast, there is an opportunity, for people to reach out, because, there's different types of mentoring too. There's the mentoring where, like, we're going to walk this path together, and the path is 1,000 miles long. Then there's the mentoring where it's like, yeah, I'll have a half-hour conversation with you. I mean, you just don't know what kind of impact you're going to make on people.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't think mentoring has to be a long-term thing necessarily. It's making a positive impact on their life. That's about it, I think. I don't know. So I think people, maybe at the end of this podcast, maybe there's an opportunity for us to share, your contact information. Because I do think,
Yeah, for sure.
Women, well, even men, I mean, heck, you can learn so much from other people.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Because you just, I don't know, I'm trying to put my finger on it. It's like the path you took into our industry is cool, but it's very unusual. We're all unusual. We're all a bunch of weirdos. I don't know if you knew that.
I do know that.
Yeah.
It's probably why I'm attracted to it.
Yeah. We were driving through the Badlands, and I found a geology book, and I was talking to my buddy, and I was like, should I get this book? And he's like, what do you know about geology? I'm like, well, I majored in it. He's like, shut up. I'm like, yeah. I don't know why, but I did. So what was are you a college person, Leanne? Did you go to college or anything?
Yeah, I did. I went to a liberal arts school. I majored in English.
Yeah. See, you speak
literature.
You speak good English.
Speak good English, right?
You do enjoy redlining my documents.
Right? I love that. Yeah.
All right. So if you need any documents edited, you can also.
Mm-hmm.
Well, and I worked in book publishing for a while.
Did you really?
Yeah, I've had a lot of interesting. I was a massage therapist after college. I went to massage school.
Hmm.
That's something I don't think I could ever do. You have to have really strong hands, don't you?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I do. Anyway, I did that a couple of years, but you know, and it's interesting because I heard somebody talking about a liberal arts background where you kind of feel like you can do anything because you're sort of trained to study in a lot of areas, and I feel like that's resonated with me because I have a lot of interests, and if I'm interested, I'm going to go learn about it, you know.
It's cool. You got a good mix of ethics. I love the fact that you're competitive because I didn't even think about that. Because you and I have interacted, you know, numerous times over the years, and this is like the first time when it kind of dawned on me, like, holy crap, yeah, she is competitive. And you called it, you said it yourself, you're like a snake in the grass. That's exactly what you are. I'm glad you brought that up because it probably would have been bad for me to say, well, you're a snake in the grass, because people would be like, shut up, jerk.
Yeah.
That's cool. That's very true. All right. Can you think of any other things? So there's lots of mentoring opportunities. Ones that because you are mentoring people too. You're mentoring people through the ISSA stuff that you're doing. You're mentoring people through the Cybersecurity Summit. Even though you're not one-on-one maybe mentoring anybody right this minute, the fact that you interact with those people, I think that could all qualify as mentoring.
Yeah.
Is there anything that comes to mind? And you can be blunt, right? Now's the time for that snake in the grass to, you know, strike. Maybe. Is there anything that you can think of that Brad and I can do, or people like Brad and I, to help foster just a better environment for women in our industry? And you don't have to think of anything now. If you think of it later, that's fine. We'll publish it somewhere later.
Mm-hmm.
But I want to do more to help everybody, not just women. We need to do a minorities in security. You know, I mean, how many Black people have I worked with? How many Asian people have I worked with in security leadership in this industry?
Yeah.
2, maybe? I don't know. But anyway, anything you can think of, anything that comes to mind that we can do to help?
I just think, again, doing this podcast like this is great. And I think you guys mentioned like some kind of like starting a nonprofit or something. Didn't you mention that?
Oh, there's a rumor.
So that idea I loved. I was like, I would love to be involved in something like that. Because I just think, again, getting awareness at, you know, the high school, the middle school level, the college level of people that, again, who, you know, and you talk to so many women, they're like, I didn't know this existed. You know, I don't have a tech background, but yet here I am in security. And I've heard that over and over and over. And so, you know, just bringing awareness at a younger age to folks who have no idea about the wonderful world of security, you know.
Yeah, it's not going anywhere.
Mm-hmm.
Nope.
We need them.
Yeah, and we know the, you know, the job shortage too, so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is like, information security is like the worst possible industry to discriminate in. You know, because one, who are we? You know, we're begging for talent. 2, many of our solutions, even though they seem really creative, it's just rehashing the same crap over and over again. We need more perspectives. We need more creativity in our industry. And the only way you get more perspectives is by bringing people that aren't like you to the table.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
All
and
right.
I mean, you know, there's been research, I think, but that brings a stronger business perspective to people too, so.
Yeah, agreed. Now, Leanne, who else? Is it just you and Jennifer right now, ladies on our sales team?
Yes.
We have the kind of that next level. We got Liesel and
Oh, right. Why do I forget about Lisa? She's
Yeah, the CSM team.
kind of supporting you guys.
Mm-hmm.
Lisa's kind of she's a snake in the grass too.
I was gonna say you and Liesel are very similar, and I mean that as a compliment.
I love her.
Never gonna live down the snake in the grass.
No. Okay, we won't.
So
No, I get it. I get it though. She's great.
Well,
I think we are similar that way.
funny story.
in a positive way.
Yeah.
I have a funny the snake in the grass. Friday. I was out back. There was a cicada on our deck, and I was looking at it with my daughter, like just down on the ground. And I started walking under the deck and almost stepped on about a 2-foot garter snake and just jumped. Like I wasn't expecting it. And I go to step and see it moving. Scared the Jesus out of me.
It's a literal snake in the grass.
A literal snake in the grass.
That's a long one. You don't see that. I usually haven't seen long ones, 2 feet long around
it's
here.
a big one, but we live right, back up to woods and so it's not surprising. I just wasn't expecting it. Sorry.
Now, I didn't realize that you grew up in Eden Prairie also.
I did. Back when it was farmland still.
Yeah, because I went to Minnetonka, graduated in 88. Is that around the same time?
Yeah, we're similar, sure.
Okay. Were you still Eden Prairie? What is that? The Eagles? No, Eden Prairie.
The Eagles, yeah. Yeah, I played tennis. That was my sport.
Tennis?
Yeah. We probably played Minnetonka, I'm sure. But you were a swimmer, right?
I was.
Did you do others, or was that your primary?
You're a swimmer, that's about all you do.
Oh, really?
Yeah, there's no off season. It's 2 days year round.
Yeah.
It's funny, football players, and they bitch about or complain about, 2 days in August. It's like, come on.
Yeah.
You're in the water. What are you complaining about?
Did you see the Olympic swimmer woman that swam the full length with the glass of milk on her head?
No.
Oh my God. You've got to look it up. She did it on the first time.
That is some serious technique.
And then she did it again. And, they've tied it into the I Got Milk campaign. But so she did the full length and then she took it off her head. And it was impressive because, yeah.
Well, yeah, because technique is so much of swimming is technique.
Mm-hmm.
It's not just cardio and everything else. That stuff's important, but it's technique and it's mental. A lot of it.
And holding your breath.
Right. Yeah. That's crazy. I'll have to look that up.
Yeah, it's on YouTube.
All right. So this is another transition. We'll transition into some news. Leanne, please stick around. Your opinion in any of these news articles is just as important as ours.
Sounds good.
And I do appreciate you. I appreciate your pragmatic approach. I appreciate your really good communication skills. I've actually grown to appreciate too your maneuvering. It's super effective, and you do it in a way that doesn't. It may piss some people off, but it doesn't piss me off. So
thanks.
Yeah, right. All right, so some quick news stuff. I have 3 stories. I actually had 4, but I didn't like the 4th one, so I dropped it. The first one comes from ZDNet, and the title is Hacker Leaks Passwords for 900 plus enterprise VPN servers.
It's a big one.
Now is this the same one that we talked about a little?
No, because that other one was like more end user focused. This is like actual companies that are,
Plain text, names, and passwords. Plain text usernames and passwords along with IP addresses for more than 900 FRSecure VPN enterprise servers. Do you know anybody using a FRSecure VPN enterprise server, Brad?
I actually don't.
I don't either. So it made this story kind of intriguing for me. I'm an old school VPN guy where we would set up, maybe some VPN concentrators.
Yep.
Way back even before that, just set up a PPTP, so Windows NT. So I'm dating myself. The part that sucks is, we push and we preach VPN all the time, right? We push it because primarily two things, right? The encryption, authentication, right? We have authentication of the traffic, and then we also have the protected confidentiality of the traffic. This sort of ticks me off.
Well, it looks like it was that they didn't patch. Right? This is a patch that's been out since August of 19.
Yeah, so August of 2019, didn't apply the patch. It's CVE 2019 11510. And that was when the exploit was made public. So not only was this a known vulnerability, but an exploit was associated with it. The patch came after that.
Yeah, I'm looking. I just pulled it up on Shodan, and it's got like Hyundai, Heavy Industries. There's some. Oh, can't go. So there's some. Looks like there's definitely some bigger companies using it.
Yeah. So and I think that's going to resonate for a while. This news broke. What's the date today? The 10th. So this news broke like a week ago. 6 days ago. So it was between podcasts. So there's plenty of stuff out there about it. If you are using, it was a Russian speaking hacker forum is where this was dumped. Frequented by many ransomware gangs. So now that a ransomware, these are the wrong people that have this stuff. Because imagine if you're securing your VPN with single factor authentication, and I'm the attacker and I've got your usernames and passwords, how hard is it to get ransomware?
Yeah.
IP addresses of FRSecure VPN servers, FRSecure VPN server firmware version, SSH keys for each server, a list of all local users and their password hashes, admin account details, last VPN logins, and VPN session cookies were all done.
Yeah, and it's pretty big names like the Revel or whatever, Soda and Kibby, and yeah.
Well, speaking of big names, so also this week we have Intel.
Yeah.
20 gigabytes of internal documentations were leaked online last week. They were published online, the file sharing website Mega, and allegedly they were published by Till Kottman, a Swiss software engineer who received it from an anonymous hacker.
Yeah, it's interesting. If you look, it was saying that it was from they believe it was from the Resource and Design Center, so you can log in, create an account, log in, and access stuff. And it looks like somebody may have gotten in there and download it. You'd think, hopefully, they would have some pretty good logging around that.
Right. Well, 20 gigabytes is...
I would have guessed it was probably slowly downloaded. I would think you would notice 20.
I wonder how common, not common, well, it's probably common too. But I wonder how much what's the word I'm using? Like the Harley. Did I tell you about the Harley website?
Mm-mm.
Okay, I'll tell you about it later. But it was kind of like this.
Hmm.
And I haven't told Harley about it yet. So, so I wonder. I've never heard of this Till Cotman before. Have you ever heard of him?
No.
I wonder if he's trying to be like the next
Krebs.
WikiLeaks guy. No, I mean he published the crap online. He was the guy that received the data and then decided, oh, well, let's publish it online, make a name for myself.
Yeah, I see what you're saying. Yeah, I don't know why.
Kind of a jerk move, isn't it?
Let's see. So he regularly publishes data that accidentally leaked online from major tech companies. So I guess this is his thing.
Yeah, great. All right, well, there's that. Intel will investigate it. If anybody's got some power to do something about it, it might be Intel, but yeah, the data's out. And thankfully, it doesn't, I don't know, some of that data can probably be used by an attacker for maybe various things. But in terms of personal, you and I getting attacked, at home or anything like that, there's not that kind of data in it.
Yeah.
What was the connection to Harley? Did I miss that?
Yeah, you missed it.
He hasn't disclosed it yet.
Oh.
Yeah, I gotta tell them about it first, but I still need something. It's all good. Just, I'll tell about it later. But it seems similar to that. And the last one, I don't want to get political on this at all, but it's from CNET also, and it's TikTok slams Trump executive order that effectively bans the app. There's a lot of talk about TikTok last few weeks, which is kind of surprising that it's taken this long.
Yeah, I'm no fan of it, but I don't know.
I'm no fan of it either. I don't know why it would have originally been permitted in the first place before it became viral. Such a hugely popular app. I remember the first time I saw TikTok, I was like, just because the logo itself looks so shady to me. It was my first kind of thought, and then I did some research into it. I'm like, yeah, I wouldn't use this.
No. Yeah.
Well, and I wonder, do people really, where do people sit on whether China is an adversary of the United States or not?
I mean, I think it's pretty much kind of mutual, right?
Well, right.
in terms of trying to, monitoring and watching them, we know that there's all kinds of evidence that they take intellectual property and just use it.
Right. And maybe another way to put it is China an enemy of the United States?
Yeah.
I mean, I got my answer.
I mean,
but and I don't want to put you on the spot either, man.
Yeah, no, I'm just saying, I don't trust them. That's a good question. I don't use it. I wouldn't use a Chinese-based application because the government has access to all of it. I'm sure people will say, oh, well, that's the case everywhere, but I think it's especially bad there.
Well, so in my opinion, China is an enemy of the United States. They steal our stuff and use it against us. I mean, how isn't that what enemies kind of do? I mean,
yeah.
If we weren't enemies, we'd be working together on a lot more things. We'd be working together on maybe a COVID vaccine as opposed to who's going to be the first one to get it and then steal it from the other. So if this is that kind of app where data is going to China and the Chinese government is getting their hands on it, which any company who operates in China has Chinese government control.
Yeah.
So, I mean, they spy openly on
Right.
our citizens all the time. At least here in the United States, they're a little bit more covert about it. So, in my opinion, I think TikTok is a dangerous application, honestly.
Mhm. Like I said, I wouldn't use it, and I don't let my kids use it.
No. And I hate the fact that it's become politicized. Because just, cut and dry, 1 or 0. Is China our friend or not? Is
Yeah.
Russia
So
our friend or not?
what do you think will happen though if Microsoft buys the U.S. business of it?
I don't know. I'm not a big Microsoft fan either, so I don't know. I mean, really, why couldn't Microsoft just build their own? It's a video sharing application.
Yeah, but you can't. You're buying the.
IP.
Yeah. Well, the marketing, right? It's already.
Yeah, it's already adopted.
You're buying the user base. You don't have to build your own user base.
That's interesting too. I talked to my daughter who's 15 and does use TikTok. I permit that for her. I don't permit her to post anything. She likes to watch stuff.
Mm.
And, it's not, they do a pretty good job of policing out the raunchy stuff. I mean, it's pretty innocent, most of the stuff that she's seeing anyway. So I do see it all. But I told her that, hey, Trump might ban TikTok. And she was like, I would die. Like, I don't think so. I don't think you would die. I mean,
No.
we would still feed you.
TikTok's gone. Sorry. No more food or water.
Yeah. But I think you're going to have a lot of backlash for people who don't understand, I think, the risk. So, I don't know. It's interesting. It'll be something interesting to continue watching. To your point, Leanne, I don't know what to think of the Microsoft purchasing thing. I think maybe it's a stopgap so that you don't have a revolt.
Yeah.
Yeah, that'd be interesting.
All right, let's see what else so I think that's it for news. Now we can go on to basically finishing this thing out. So there you go.
Nice.
That's about it for episode 92, part 9 of the Women in Security series. One more episode left in the series. I think I'm going to bring in somebody that, again, Brad, you don't know. I keep giving you the host for the ones that you don't know. But I would like to wrap it up, I think, after 10. I think
That's a good.
I don't want to go too long with this to where it just becomes kind of the same thing over and over again. But I wanted to get different perspectives from different women in our industry. And I think we've done a pretty good job at that.
Yep, I agree.
And again, Leanne, huge thank you. You're awesome. You knew that before you got here.
Thanks. It was fun. Thanks for asking me.
Yeah. How about shout outs? Either you have any shout outs for anybody?
Yeah, I'll give a shout out to the Team Ambush and Ambush Blue.
Yes.
Really great weekend with those guys. So talented.
Awesome. Leanne, how about you?
Shout out to sales team who, we're plugging away. And it has been a crazy year, but, we're staying positive and everybody's stepped up in terms of even leadership and support of each other. So it's been fun, even though it's, a crazy time. So I'm grateful for that.
Well, I second both of those. Our CTF, top to bottom, this company is just amazing. The CTF people, the guys. We don't have any women on that team, do we?
No, but we have a intern that's going to be would have started in the spring, but is now looking at I think September.
But Shout
Can
out
we
to the
chat?
CTF. Yeah. Shout out to the CTF and shout out to our sales team. I second both of those. And I'm going to do like a shout out sort of thing for everybody who came here to where I'm at. Go home and self-isolate. Don't put other people's lives at risk. We all came here accepting the risk, you know what I mean? So it's like if one of us gets sick, it's like not a big deal. But I don't know how else to get the word out, more. And anybody who leaves Sturgis and goes home needs to self-isolate. So kind of a shout out, kind of a get your crap together kind of thing. I don't know. So thank you to our listeners. Keep the questions and feedback coming. Send things to us by email if you wish. It's unsecurity@protonmail.com. If you're the social type, socialize with us on Twitter. I'm at Evan Francine. Brad is at Brad Nye. Leanne, is there a particular way you prefer people to find you?
Yeah, they can find me probably on LinkedIn is the easiest. It's just my full name on Twitter. I'm not that active, but probably LinkedIn or work email.
Excellent. Lastly, be sure to follow our show on Twitter if you want. It's at UnsecurityP. And follow the companies we work for. Security Studio is at Studio Security, and FRSecure is at FRSecure. That's it. We'll talk to you again next week.
Thanks, guys.